In our first reading today, Moses brings to the people statutes and decrees. And he says, because of these statutes and decrees, people will know that we are a great people, that we have a great country, that we have something great within us. And then he asks them to observe these statutes and decrees. And what is a statute and decree? Rules. Rules to live by. This is the rule you have to follow. St. James writes a letter today. And he reminds us that the good giving of every perfect gift is from above. He tries to teach us about being a doer of the word, not just a hearer of the word. And then he talks about what a pure religion looks like. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God. You'll see that people will take care of the orphans and the widows, the people that are afflicted. Many people do not want to join organized religion. Do not want to join the Catholic Church because there's a lot of rules, a lot of decrees and statutes. And that's what they look at. And really, we have to be honest, we have this huge book in the Catholic Church called the Code of Canon Law. Not my best topic in the seminary. But it's about the rules and the statutes, the decrees of the church. And at the very end of that book, it basically says, these are all here to help facilitate the pastoral care of the people. The Pharisees and the scribes want to follow all of the rules to the letter. They kind of lose the spirit of the rule. We have many rules to follow in our life. When we really look into our own life and we can look around, it's not just the church who has rules. Hopefully when you were driving here, you followed the traffic rules. You stopped at the red light, you went during the green light. You went the speed limit. We have many different rules in our life. We need to follow them or there would be mayhem. I want to take a look at a different prism. A different way to look at trying to follow the rules. The statutes and decrees of the church. Statutes and decrees of what God has given Moses, given us as a church. And that's the prism of music. I love listening to music. I love all kinds of different kinds of music. You can listen to Mozart and Beethoven. And when I'm listening to those composers, I really enjoy listening to Yo-Yo Ma play it. It's really awesome. But then there's also this other, more contemporary music that I listen to. I enjoy music from all kinds of different people. Ben Folds, Elton John, Gene Simmons, Kurt Cobain, just to name a few. And the beautiful thing about music is there's a lot of rules that you have to follow. For good music, a good composition of music, There's a tempo. There's a rhythm. There's a harmony. There's a melody. And they all have to come together, or it sounds bad. It looks bad. It just makes noise, and it's not music. So as we look at this prism of music, we see the rules of music. I know a little bit about music. I know a little about how to follow the rules, but I can tell you that if I were to play anything for you, you basically say, well, Father, that's just noise. I'm not very good at it. I don't have that talent. But also, because I don't have the talent, I really don't have the passion to play. I have the passion to listen, but not to play. That's what these musicians that I mentioned earlier, they have a passion. They had a passion behind them that drove them to write this music, that drove them to play this music, and to entertain us. And so just to follow the rules is one thing, but to have the rules and the passion to bring that out in such a wonderful, mighty way. We hear the great Beethoven's Fifth. We hear the beauty and glory of the music. We can understand the beautiful harmonies and melodies, all kinds of different types of music, different genres of music. You start to hear the melodies and the harmonies. You tap your foot to the rhythm. You hear that music. You might have a particular type of music, genre of music, a particular song that just makes your heart just swell with the wonders and beauties of that song. It's the same with our faith. We have the rules. And sometimes we have to follow them even when we don't want to, but if we don't, then it will just make noise. We'll have a different rhythm than other people. We'll be playing a different song, and then we just kind of just all falls apart. No one knows where we're at. Moses tells the people to observe these statutes and decrees carefully, and thus you will give evidence of your wisdom and intelligence to all the nations. St. James says, be doers of the word, not hearers only. If you only hear it, then you're just deluding yourselves. And he says, religion that is pure and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to care for the orphans and widows and their afflictions. And so when you start to see someone living out their faith, listening to the conductor, God the Father, you start to see wonders and beauties in their lives. The greatest example that I can come up with is Mother Teresa of Calcutta. She definitely took care of the orphans and the widows, the people that were afflicted. What a wonderful orchestra that she created with her religious organization. Around the world, people saw and heard the harmonies and melodies, the rhythm that Mother Teresa brought about. And they were in wonder and awe of her. This is what we can do ourselves as well with our own faith and our state of life, wherever that might be, whatever that might be. listening to God, trying to do His will and not trying to do our own will. Not trying to be that clanging gong in the midst of a beautiful orchestra. To work with it. Be doers of the word, not just hearers only. Listen to our God who conducts us. Follow His will. Yes, He's given us rules to follow. But when we follow those rules, we start to see and hear the harmony and melodies of life, of divine life, within us, within others. We care for those around us. Just step away from the noise of the world. And let us hear the music of our Father. And let that music, that orchestra, be our guiding light in our hearts and in our minds.